What's up? Jeff Got to Go podcast. Dennis Parker Jr. here, sports editor of the Standard Banner. Pleased to be joined by the basketball coaches at Jefferson County, interim head coach Kyle Briggs of the Patriots and Bo Lewis of the Lady Patriots. Guys, postseason's here. How you feeling?
It got here a lot quicker than I think we were ready for, but we're excited. I guess Bo and them. It's a nice change of pace when you get to it. At some point, the second half of the year kind of gets a little stale, kind of because you're just waiting on it. And I think the kids are kind of feeling that right now too.
That's what I was going to say. It's almost like you're hitting that refresh button. Everybody's back at 0-0. Basketball season's a long grind for everybody, and it can get a little stale at times. So, I think everybody's looking forward to it as far as both teams go, I feel like. So,
I think that's why this is one of my favorite sports. I mean, it's a new season at this point. What you've done up until this point, November through now, don't matter. None of it matters.
All resets at this point. Like you said, everybody's 0-0, whether you win 20 games or you win 2 games. And we're close to the latter one. Everybody's back on an even playing field now. And so you just lace them up and give it what you got.
I know it's been a challenging year for both of you guys. Kyle, I'll start with you. Obviously, a unique set of circumstances for you, kind of thrust into the interim coaching role middle of the season. But seem to have handled it really well. Has there been any kind of adjustment that you can think of that you've had to make, or has it mostly been business as usual?
As much as I'd like to say it was business as usual, it's a lot greater responsibility. There's a lot more that comes with it. I think even, being around it, this is my second year being an assistant. I didn't realize, how much actually goes into being the one in charge. At the end of the day, everything comes back to you. So there has been some adjustment periods, just from what players expect from me, and my role to them has been a little different, a little adjustment there. A lot of the things outside the court as well that you've got to do is a little bit different with the between fundraisers and feeding the kids and transportation and everything that goes along with it. Kind of has been a whirlwind of it, but I've had phenomenal help. Bo's helped me out a ton. Gaines and Randy both have been, very instrumental in helping me get it done, and just the entire staff here has really reached out and helped me in any way they can. Couldn't think of enough. There's no way I've been able to do any of it without them. So very thankful to be in a place that made the transition as easy as possible, even though it wasn't one. But definitely couldn't have done it anywhere else, I don't think.
Obviously, we had that giant winter snow break, unscheduled winter break. Kind of just before all this stuff happened, did that help things any at all? Getting, at least a few days before coaching your first game?
Yeah, I think, you're never really prepared for a 17-day layoff or whatever, it might have been. But at the same time, given the things that had happened, I think it was good for the kids to, have that time to kind of digest and, everything that went down and adjust to it rather than, hey, throw you in the fire. You got a game tomorrow and go from there. And so, that kind of went back to me learning, my new role and the kids learning it. And it gave us a few days to get used to that rather than, just being thrown into it. But all that being said, we got like 3 days and then we had to, travel on down to Sevier County. So it wasn't like we got too much rest and relaxation there. But I do think that it had its positives and negatives. Being away from the court that long can, lead to some rust, and I think we saw some of that. But overall, I thought the kids handled it well, given the circumstances, and I think we made the best of it.
Bo, like you said, 17-day layoff. What was that like from your perspective, and how nice was it to finally just get back?
It's always good to be in the gym. It's also good sometimes just to have a break, physically, mentally. We mentioned the reset button a minute ago for the tournament. It was almost one of those scenarios where you couldn't be on campus. We couldn't practice for days, and
I couldn't get out of my driveway for a week.
We got quite a bit in the planes.
So I had a little old lady neighbor who came over and knocked on the door, and she was like, "Hey, can you go get me groceries?" yeah, sure. And then I ended up shoveling everybody's driveway because there's a bunch of older people, so it was definitely different.
Yeah, it was. There was not much movement in the planes during that time. But the break, the first day or two is nice. But then you start having to field all of these phone calls about schedules, practice schedules. When are we going to be able to get in the gym? When are you going to make this game up or that game? And you're just kind of sitting there waiting, because you don't have the answers at the moment. And then you're going back and forth, players asking when practice is and that sort of thing. So, it's a lot. And Coach Briggs had mentioned the new role that he's in. A lot of people don't realize the amount that goes into being in that first seat, all the behind the scenes things that you're having to do and take care of. It's really nonstop. It is a nonstop job of just dealing with all the things that you have to deal with that a lot of people might not realize, even little things that you have to take care of. So it's a never-ending process, and you try your best to balance those things the best you can, but it's difficult sometimes.
Well, and like I said, I mean, we got to reset. I know the entire month of January was one that I'm sure that both of you are ready to just kind of forget and move past from, but we get that chance now. And Bo, I'll start with you.
Sure.
You've got the Just Do It hat on again. Have you guys got another fourth seed out of nowhere running you guys in this district tournament?
Comeback kids.
We've talked a lot about that this week. I felt like we've had a good 3 or 4 days. We came in Sunday to practice, then of course had the game at Carter on Monday, and then the last couple of days. I feel like we're in a good place as far as our minds go. We've watched some game film of both Sevier County games from this season. Even as hard as that second one was to watch, we still watched it, and where can we learn from that? So, and we've tried to reset the mind of, again, everybody's 0-0. Let's talk a little bit about what we did last year, and we had those discussions last year, and I'll let the girls our seniors, I'll let them have those discussions with the players. So, to me, this is the most enjoyable time of the year, is the tournament with basketball, March Madness, at the college level.
So I wouldn't expect a coach to say that, to be honest. Like from my perspective, yes, it's very enjoyable. But I'd imagine I would think
and it's stressful.
Yes,
it's stressful. But like you said, January was really stressful. That was a hard few weeks to go through, because you're just you're watching so much game film. You're trying to work on your practices, and then you get in your head a little bit of what do we need to mix, what do we need to do different, to change things. So that was a long month. It was a very long month. A lot of lost hours of sleep on that. And but I love our team, and they haven't given up on each other. I certainly haven't given up on them. We're still teaching and trying to learn every single day of what we can do just a little bit better. And that's what we're trying to take into tomorrow night.
How do you guys approach something like this weekend? Because I know that obviously you got to get over that first hurdle. For you it's Sevier County, for you it's Morristown East, but then 2 days later you're going to play somebody else, and 1 day later you're going to play somebody else.
Right.
So do you just put all your resources into that first game, and then you just kind of handle the second game as it comes?
That's how we've approached this, one game at a time, and really you're focusing on what we've talked about. What can we do? Like, what do we have to do to take care of ourselves? Like, we're not even looking, like, we've talked about personnel of who we're playing and the opponent and what they like to do. But overall, you're thinking about what do we need to clean up? How are we going to get our looks? Where can we eliminate those turnovers? What do we need to do better defensively? So really, you're not even thinking of Saturday at the moment. You're thinking of that first game and hoping to get out of that first game so you can host that region game next week. So, the first game, really the most important game.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. Obviously you both want to come out of this with a district championship.
Right.
Any more of these district tournaments, especially in your all's sense, you only got 4 teams. You're basically just playing for seeding for the next part of the postseason.
Right.
You're in it no matter what.
That's right.
Yeah, that's like you mentioned, with the 4 teams, it's a little bit different than what we used to do. Used to be you had to win a couple to get in, or if you were lucky enough to get the 1 or 2 seed, you had that bye automatically in. So then it was that true win or go home type feeling, and I think that's a good feeling to have. So you try and recreate it as much as possible. even though, we're guaranteed to go to the region. But like, Coach Lewis said, you don't want to go on the road in those games. If you can have it here at Jeff County, it makes it a lot easier, regardless of who you have to play. And so that first game, like I said, for us East, we're just treating it like that is the only game we have left this year. We haven't, because you don't know who's going to win, West Revere. You could get either one of them. So there's no point in really game planning them. I mean, our kids know them. We've played them twice. I mean, that's the thing with only having 4 teams is I think our kids are pretty familiar with everybody in the region or the district at least. So you don't have to worry about too much the quick turnaround. I think the big thing is that first game. Having a game plan, trying to stick to it, and giving yourself the best shot. And, the crazy part is about this is we could draw the best game plan in the world. Our kids could go out and execute it to perfection, and March Madness can happen, and we could lose. And then you got to turn around and be ready to go. So I think it's tough having that dual mindset of, hey, this game is the most important thing we have right now. But then you have to also be ready, especially with kids, to flip as soon as you go in that locker room after the game, win or lose, and say, okay, hey, we did this, good or bad, and now we've got to go to the next step. So I think for us it's a lot right now. Is Friday East is our only concern, and that's all I want my kids thinking about. But in the back of my mind, I'm already trying to figure out what we're going to do for the next game, whether we win or lose. So I think the big thing is get them to focus on this, and then we kind of go from there because they're the ones that have to come out and play.
Well, and your situation with the East is a little unique as well. You had to play them. I mean, you both had to play them twice in 1 week,
Right.
but you've got them in the semifinals first,
Right.
To start out the tournament. Yeah, at their place as well. Is there
Nice
anything?
and orange,
Oh gosh. Is there anything that you were able to learn? I mean, playing them in such a short window that is going to help you, or is it pretty much you already knew what you were going to give? Because I
That
know how
Kyle's
much
pretty
time.
good. He's pretty good.
Kyle Briggs?
Yeah, that one.
Oh.
Now that one's washed up old, never was good. Clodinger, he's a special player. But no, they've got a really good team. He's what makes them go, but he's not by any means all they have. They fielded a really good team around him, and they all know their roles really well. And I think that's kind of what I've learned from playing them and watching this film is they all have a job and they seem to do it really well, and they don't go outside that job. And it's that's what makes a good team. And credit to Bryce over there. His first year he was thrown into it. They didn't lose this year. In the district, they've got a really solid team. But I think for us, it's controlling what we can control. I think both times we had lapses where we whether it was 4 minutes or 4 possessions where we just kind of gave some things away and did some stupid things, and they took advantage of it. Here it's a 3-point game with 5.5 minutes to go in the fourth, and they go on an 11-0 run in about 42 seconds because we've got 2 turnovers and a bad shot.
Like you said, they do what good teams do.
Yeah, and that's the thing is if you give good teams chances, they take advantage of it. We had chances and we didn't, and that's why they won and we didn't. And I think that's what I've tried to convey to the kids is it takes a full game to beat a team like that. It's not, we're not going to go out there and play great for 3 quarters and be up 25. That's just not going to happen. We'll be doing good to go over there and play great and be up 7. That would be probably best case scenario. I mean, it's going to be a dogfight for them. If they want to. So I think, playing them back to back, the kids, it almost like reinforced, they know that identity of East and they know what to expect. And so hopefully they realize what they have to do, to compete and go out there and have a chance to win.
You mentioned Bryce Cusick, obviously another Jeff County guy.
Trader's what he is over there.
On a serious note, though, I mean, knowing him and getting to share the floor with him those 2 games, and then you're going to do it again on Friday. I mean, has that had any kind of special semblance for you guys?
Yeah, it's been good. Me and Bryce were here together, back in our playing days, and we've stayed in touch over the years, regardless of basketball. And Bryce is a great guy. Lucky to call him a friend. And it's. Me and him were joking. If you had told us this 10 years ago, we would have probably been like, yeah, I don't think so. Like, that's not, like, you're ridiculous. Both for us to be so young and have this opportunity is just kind of wild. But I think it also adds, that competitiveness, because we know each other. And so I think we both want to win. But it is if there's someone, I do enjoy competing with, it's Bryce. He's a really good guy, and he's a really good coach, as you can see. So nothing but respect for them over there, and it's been enjoyable. And like you said, the Jeff County coaching tree, we've got 3 of the 4 coaches in on the boys' side, Jeff County descendants. So it's pretty neat to see that. So it's
We can give Ken Wright honorary status.
Hey,
just won't make
we can just throw it in. We
can.
can go get him like an honorary diploma if we need to. I don't know if Bo would extend the same welcome to anybody on his side of the bed besides, but
We can talk about it.
What are you saying?
well, he
Bo,
does,
have you had some issues this year?
Well,
he does have his golfing buddy over there.
you can ask me questions, I'll answer, but I won't
Okay.
bring it up.
On a competitive note, though, you've thrown Bryce some haymakers this year. Certainly, I think gave East more of a fight than they thought that they were going to get. What's it going to take to get over that hump? What's it going to take to basically shock the district?
A few more haymakers, in all honesty. I think the kids have done a good job of coming out, and they weathered some storms and delivered some blows themselves. But I think we're going to have to come out, and obviously we've got to try and contain Kyle best we can. He's a really good player, and people have been saying that for 4 years. All we got to do is contain him. It's a lot easier said than done. But make everything as tough as possible on him, and then the ones around him, we can't let them, they've got to earn theirs. We can't let Mason hit 6 threes. We can't let Carpenter get loose for 2 or 3 on us. We can't let Mink have 8 back doors like he did on his last year and go for 20. He does a really good job attacking the rim. We've got to keep him off the free throw line, and then the rest of those role guys. They do what they're told, and they, when the time comes, they make shots. So we're going to hope that those shots don't fall this time, and we can make everything as tough as possible. Maybe for once we can make a shot or two. We don't tend to do that too much, but if we could shoot it a little bit better, I think that would give us a decent chance. So.
You guys both have a chance to play Cinderella this week. Bo, you got to experience that last year. What was the as you look at things right now, is there anything you can pinpoint that was different about last year's team that this year's team is going to have to pick up in order to make that happen again?
Coach Briggs mentioned people fulfilling their role. And, it's been a roller coaster for us this season. You've watched a lot of our games, and shooting has been an Achilles of ours. Rebounding the basketball has been an issue of ours, too. We've been on the losing end of that a lot this season. And, compared to last year, fulfilling your role is really important. And I feel like Monday night we had a strong finish to the regular season. And someone that, I talked to you about was Addie Armstrong. She played her role to perfection Monday night. And I've been pushing and almost begging to the point of playing all season the way she did Monday night. 11 points. She had 14 rebounds, 5 of 8 from the field. She did a great job Monday night and taking care of the, protecting the paint on the defensive end.
And like I had talked to you after the game at Cott County, I know that ended up being a loss, but, she draws the matchup. Granted, it was a freshman at Cott County, but still, the girl was player of the year in their district.
For a reason.
And when she was guarding her, I don't think that she scored. If she did, is maybe 2. She only had 6
She
all
finished
game.
the night with 6. You're right.
Kept her off the boards and everything. She's really played a complete game.
Yeah. So Addie, if she continues the trend she's on, I feel like we have a chance. I love our team. I think we have the pieces. It's just a matter of being consistent, and we haven't been consistent this season. We never won more than 2 in a row. We never went on a stretch to get 3 wins in a row, and and that makes it hard. The inconsistent play and shooting has just been, honestly, it's just been atrocious all season. It's been bad. We've had players that have really good nights, and we've had positive things happen all season. Really have. I've enjoyed the season. It's been hard in stretches, but I like our team. They're a great group of young ladies, and that have shown up daily, but just hadn't went our way a lot on several nights. Maddie Hawk's averaging 17 a game, but we don't have anybody else averaging double digits this season. So that makes it hard. You got to have scoring, and I know defense and rebounding is what we talk about, but you got to put the ball in the hoop.
Put points on the board.
You got to put points on the board, and our league is tough. I've said it for a couple of years, I feel like the toughest district, top to bottom, that it could go either way any night. And I still feel that way. And going into tomorrow night, I like our chances. I like our chances.
I feel like that showed last year. Was Morristown East the 3 seed last year?
Yes.
Or were they the 2?
They were the 3.
Yeah, so we had the 3 and the 4 playing for the championship last year, while the 1 and the 2 were deciding who was going to go play the district champion out of District 1.
Yeah. We caught fire there. I thought we had a good game plan. The girls executed it last year, and these girls, we've talked about that game a lot this week, like I said earlier, and the players have brought up. I had Kylie Boland, sophomore, who doesn't really see a lot of varsity minutes, but man, she's just almost like a little team mom for us. And she asked during practice today if last year's championship game was still up on Huddle. She was wanting to go home and watch it, and was encouraging the other girls to watch that game. So spirits are good. I mean, we like I said, they don't tend to let things bother them. I don't know if that's good or bad. Sometimes I wonder if anything bothers them, and I want some things to bother
these
them.
high school kids, you don't know, man. They could get a pea on their pizza, and it could ruin their day, or that they could their house could catch fire, and they'll come in and be singing Sunshine and Rainbows. You don't know with them. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen.
It is wild. A lot of bright spot, like Briley Lindsay. I felt like Briley has been a consistent, positive player for us this season. She's had games where she's scored double digits, and she leads our team in rebounding throughout the year. She's just been a consistent player for us. So if we can get, her Briley and Adeline playing to the level that they're capable of playing, we need Brooke to knock down a couple shots. Peyton really showed a lot of growth this season as a freshman.
Especially when Maddie was out with her concussion.
Yes, with Maddie out with 2 concussions, she really showed a lot of positive growth during that time. And I think with Maddie coming back, she's tried to figure out where her role is a little bit these last few games. But if we could get on the same page, and Caroline's been consistent for me for 2 seasons. Caroline is so scrappy, and
She plays hard.
She's one of those players that just doesn't get
Does the dirty
a
work
lot of
for
the
you.
highlights. But man, she's second on the team in rebounding as a 5'5" point guard, as a point guard for us. But she's so scrappy and tries to do the right thing every single day. Not one complaint out of that girl ever, and holds herself accountable. When she turns it over, she typically knows that it was probably her fault when that turnover occurs. But she also leads the team in assists this season. I don't know. She just does her job, and she's been such a joy to coach these last 2 years. And I asked Caroline and Brooke yesterday in practice. We were talking about holding each other accountable, and it doesn't always need to be the coach talking. Great teams have players that are great communicators and helping lead the team. It's not just the coach. I don't want to talk all the time and
say it before the coach can.
Yes, exactly. And I asked those two how many practices they have missed, because they've been 4-year players here for the program, and man, just what an example they are for a Lady Patriot basketball player. But they've missed 1 practice in 4 years, and I thought, man, and I said that right there is leadership that should just shine through our program. And I'm sure there were many days they didn't want to be here. Right. They showed up, and they're doing their job for 4 years. And players like that you're going to miss. But they've also set the standard for our all these freshmen that we have in our.
So you have a ton of freshmen, so that's a phenomenal example for them to have.
It is, and plus they're just great young ladies. I mean, Caroline and Brooke, you don't get much better than those two, and I could say that about really our whole team. It's just been one of those years. Record doesn't show that whatever, but it's not. It is about the win. You want to win every night. I want to win every night. I'm competitive, like we talked about. But at the end of the day, you're just thankful to be able to be a part of this chapter of their life, and because they are a positive group of young ladies.
Well, we touched on Kyle's matchup.
Sure.
Let's get to yours. I mean, same thing. You've got a lot of different angles that you've got to play Sevier County out. They don't run through just one person. Even if they do have a dominant hand, they have other people that they can go to. You talked about watching the film from the last game, as painful as that was, but what have you been able to learn in watching that film, and what's going to be the biggest challenge with Sevier County on Thursday?
So they have multiple players, you're right, that are capable of hurting you.
They got a few 1,000-point scorers. I don't know
They-
if you know that.
I'm aware now. I had no clue and didn't keep up with it, but I am aware of it now.
Sorry.
Typically things I don't keep up with during the game.
Right.
But maybe I should. I don't know, according to other people. But I am aware of that, yes. Solid team. Back to what we have to do. Okay, so sorry, I got a little sidetracked there.
Well, it's my fault.
That's okay. Possessions. We've talked about how every possession matters. So watching game film and letting the girls see it, we're writing notes, taking notes. We were talking about the last time we played them when it was just an ugly outcome, but it wasn't an ugly first half. It was 2-2 after.
I think the first quarter was bad, but the second quarter you guys kind of regained your footing.
Right.
It's just second half it just spiraled.
Yeah, the second half spiral, but we looked at that first quarter. So we looked at the first quarter. We watched the first quarter, had the girls take notes, had them watch. Our first 5 possessions, we had 3 turnovers and 2 air balls on 1 shot attempt. It was threes. So the ball movement wasn't good. We try to play inside out. But we talk about possessions. From tip to finish, they matter. And we discussed those first 5 possessions.
Especially when you don't shoot it well.
Yeah, when you're not shooting it well. That's right. And we haven't been. So we're discussing, okay, Sevier County didn't have a great first 5 possessions either. It was 2-2. So, we convert 3 of those 5 bad possessions and, that entire game might look different, So we're just talking about the importance of Coach Briggs mentioned it earlier about control what you can control the controllables. We've got to control the basketball. We've got to take care of it. We can't just sling it around in their 2-2-1 press, or their half-court stuff. We can't dribble over and pick it up on the sideline knowing they're going to be trapping us. We just got to be smart with the basketball, protect it, and on the other end, the defensive end, we can't – Loveday's their best player, I feel like, point guard. I think she is the motor of that team, and she has hurt us 2 seasons. She's just a solid – I really like her. She's a solid basketball player. But we let her get to the rim too many times. She's going to dribble hard 2 times to the right. She's going to cross it over, and she's going to the left side. And it's not like we haven't discussed that. So we have a plan. We've talked about – we made some adjustments going into the tournament last year of things we want to do a little different and got it turned around pretty quickly those few days that we had to practice and prepare, and I thought the girls did a great job. We've talked about different scenarios that we're going to try to do a little different tomorrow night that we didn't do a very good job of the first 2 times playing Sevier County. So first we got to stop Loveday. We got to make it a little more difficult for her to get to the basket or just facilitate the basketball. So we have a plan, but the players have to execute it.
Yeah.
So.
And like you said, even sometimes, when you have the plan and they can't execute it, it's March Madness. Things can go certain ways, but I think if you have that plan and go out and execute, it gives yourself the best chance.
Well, that's right. You want to compete, and we've talked about, and Barker, I've talked to you about this. 2 things we preach to the girls every single year that I've
First
ever
3
coached.
minutes of the second half.
That's okay. There's another thing I can add.
Sorry, I thought that's where we were going.
Well, funny you mentioned that because we watched the first quarter. Didn't watch the second quarter. I told them we wanted to watch the first 3 minutes of the second half because let's see how much energy we gave those first 3 minutes because those are the most important coming out of the half. And the girls, they can't help but agree because they see it. The film doesn't lie. So we talked about those first 3 minutes and watched it, and it was tough. It was tough to watch, but it's also holding them accountable and letting them see what they can do maybe a little bit better.
I honestly think that the Cott County game that you guys just played would be a prime example. First quarter, I think you guys went for 17 points. I don't know if you guys have done that all year.
I don't think we have.
Going to the half only down 4.
We've been
First
lucky
3
to score 17 the whole game, a couple games.
Yeah, and then first 3 minutes,
Relatable.
second half.
Yeah, just was flat. We were flat. And we talked about, Cott County game. Then I'll get back to those 2 things that we talked about.
Sure.
But the Cott County game, we're down 5 going into the half. Our last 4 possessions of the first half were back-to-back-to-back turnovers. And then we had a screen and roll action where we had a wide open layup and hit the bottom of the rim. Last 4 possessions. going into the half, and we're only down 5. But that was a momentum killer, because then we come out, we talk about all right, girls, first 3 minutes. And then we let them do a puny little screen on us, and the girl gets a wide open shot at the elbow, and all of a sudden we're down 7 and just flat the rest of the way. I mean, it's just.
When you can't shoot 7's like 17, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. And you can't do that against good teams. And Cocke County's a good team and won their district this year.
I didn't realize they had won 11 in a row at that point. I mean, that's.
Well, I'd like to think Bodie might give us a little credit for that streak, because after they lost here to our place, they just started killing people. They just started killing. So I'd like to think we ignited something in them. Yeah.
Get you like an honorary plaque or something.
Yeah, maybe he can cut you a sliver of his Coach of the Year.
Yeah, well, I don't want that. That's all right. But
just a plate of food at the banquet at the end of the year.
There we go.
Have me play set, and like, yeah, Coach.
And they got some good food over there, so I would take that.
Sure they do.
Or maybe some of the Cocke County special juice, that they got over there in the backwoods.
All right, well, okay.
See if they can swing some of that.
This thing's getting off the rails a little
The
bit.
2 things that we talk about every year to every team that we've ever coached, as far as my coaching staff: play hard and be coachable. Okay, so we've talked about those 2 things again this week, but we've talked to them not about just playing hard now. There's more to just playing hard. Now, you got to be competitive. People can play hard and still not be competitive. I need my team to be more competitive. We have got to be more they should be irritated tremendously of the first time we played Sevier County. We played them single digits. We watched that game again today. And, typically you're telling your team not to foul because you're ready to get out of here. We've realized we've lost. Well, Sevier County runs a backdoor and layup on us with their starters in. And they score, beat us by 10. That should irritate my players. Not just it irritates me. It irritated the heck out of me. And it irritated my student section. They were livid. Maddox was ready to come out on the floor with us and go to battle. That's the fire I need out of our team. My team should be mad and ready to compete even harder that they were losing by 35 and still being pressed by Sevier County starters at Sevier County. That should irritate my team. It should irritate them that I had 2 of Sevier County's parents, for whatever reason, I still don't know, they won by 35, and I have 2 dads over in front of our locker room, and I haven't said a word. I was trying to get out of Sevier County that night. Over there cussing me like a dog, one of his Sevier County's players' dads. And we can watch it on Huddle. Coach Schultz and I were fine. We talked. I told him he was trying to explain to me why people were out on the floor. He didn't understand that's not why I was upset. I didn't care who was shooting out on the floor. Again, I don't keep up with people's career stats from other teams, so I had no clue. And I didn't care. The point that I was trying to make to him was, and it doesn't matter, and people might say I'm wrong on this, but starters on the floor, when I had my
Freshman
bottom 5 of the bench out on the floor, threw in the towel at the end of the 3rd quarter. Starters out on the floor and pressing my freshmen, my bench players. Look, if he had subbed and had his bench players and freshmen out there, I don't care that he's pressed. That's okay. You press us all you want.
Valuable minutes for your youth and a scrimmage at that point.
So, but we were fine after the game, and I've talked to Coach Schultz since we had our meeting last week. We were fine after the game. We were just talking. The 2 dads, I have no idea why they were mad. I really don't, still don't. But cussing me with words, not just normal cuss words, big cuss words.
Sure.
Big ones.
The big ones.
And,
the big balls.
one dad standing there like Mr. T with his arms crossed staring at me. I'm thinking, what are you doing? And then the other dad with his finger and making a hand gesture to Bean and Coach Bean and Coach Johnny Messer. Johnny Messer's the nicest guy on this planet. And
Bean's the last person I want to stick a finger in the face of.
No. And so, I still don't. But I say those things to say I don't know how that doesn't fire you up as a competitive athlete or player, basketball player. So I'm hoping, they've got a little frustration built up in them that they want to go out and just give it everything they have tomorrow night and just play hard and compete.
I'm ready to give everything I've got for you, but I don't have a lot of stamina, and I run out of eligibility, and well, I can't play for you because I'm not a girl. But I'm ready to go.
See, right, and I appreciate that. And Bean and Johnny, look, we just got to focus on what we can control, and that was something that we couldn't control that night. And take care of the basketball and execute on the offensive side a little bit better than what we've been doing. Again, I felt like we ended this regular season on a positive note. The first half of the Cott County game, and then the complete game against Carter Monday night. I really liked a lot of.
Got 2 wins in your last 3. I mean
that's a positive. We'll
Yeah.
take it. So you got to try to find those positives when you've been struggling a little bit. So, and you got to try your best to keep the spirits high of the team, because it's easy. You know, January was a very long drought, and it would have been easy to throw in the towel then, but they haven't. And hopefully we ride this little bit of momentum that we have at the end of the regular season.
Well, guys, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I wish you both the best of luck. I'll see you guys in Morristown. Hope to see everyone else out there in Morristown as well. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you can't make it, be sure to follow us on social media. You can follow my Twitter account for live game updates. Follow our Facebook page for story updates the very next morning. Those things will go live on our website, and we also post them to our Facebook. Subscribe to the Standard Banner. You can go and get a copy, I think, at the gas station for about $2 right now. You can subscribe for less than $40 for the entire year, and that gets you access to both the hard copy, which gets delivered to you, and you can have access to our website at any time. Very, very affordable. Again, thank you all for listening. Guys, thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
Look
having
forward
us.
to the road ahead. Till next time.
Absolutely.